apologize for that. We'll give the Instagram people a few minutes to switch profiles. But here they all come. So it is working. Much better. Okay, so again, I'm just gonna start by saying, this is a crazy time for everybody. We've all been affected, and everyone's been affected significantly. So our thoughts go out with you, to you, and each and every one of you. What I want to go through today is to start with kind of what our plans were for opening prior to today and prior to about a week ago. What we learned that is helping us decide how we can best open and in a safe way for you all. And some of what we believe and feel about the county's decision for determining the date to still be a target date for gyms being allowed to open on June 15th. So for any of you that did not see that, the county has announced when a lot of other businesses can open, and they announced that their target for gyms is June 15th, but that they're going to be following the numbers to make that determination a little bit closer. The other thing that they were not able to share with us is their guidelines for how we would have to operate under. So we're still flying a little bit blind, but I just want to, for the sake of our membership, to kind of go through what our assumptions are, what our assumptions were, everything that we're doing to be prepared. But really, there's information that the county has not been that great at sharing that might make people understand a little better about why gyms can't be open right now. So when the county and the city and the state started opening, we learned that the businesses in general were going to have a restriction to operate under 25% of their capacity, which for us is a significant impact on our business, on our members, and it's a restriction that would put us in a place where in our sweat room we were putting a lot of people, call it 70 people, to now where we may be able to put somewhere between 16 and 20 people with the proper spacing, and then in some of our other rooms even less. So when that first came forward, my first reaction was, how do we get more people into our classes? And one of the ways that we wanted to serve members, we started about a month ago, but in offering classes through Zoom. So the Zoom classes, for those of you that haven't tried them out, we actually have had some members that have expressed that they get as much out of it and it's actually more convenient and that they love them. Just so y'all know, we do plan to continue offering Zoom classes even when we open. So Zoom classes was a way to handle people if we can't fit as many people in the studios, but also outdoor classes. So even before some new information came out, we had started the process of working with our landlord, which is Wash U, to allow us to use the roof of the parking garage and the second to bottom floor of the parking garage as a place that we could start offering classes. At that time, it was to add capacity to allow for more people. So fast forward to about a week ago, and at the beginning of this, I actually formed a group of owners that own studios, and many of you know that when we sent out a message, we said that if you continue to pay your membership, you could get drop-ins at these 14 other studios. So that ownership group had grown and grown to a much bigger group. And when their efforts switched from how do we serve our members while we're closed to we need to be open, we should be open right now, and we want to open as fast as possible. At that time, I was unclear about the risk of some of our classes and what we did in the studio. There was a lack of information, and there was a big question about, is this disease transferred through the air, or is it through, or is it only through touching surfaces? We didn't have good information to go on. So I actually pulled myself back from that group, and they kept going forward and were sending letters to the county executive to basically say, hey, we're boutique studios. We're not like a box gym. We should be able to open and offer our classes. And right around that time that they sent that letter in, there was an article that came out, first seen on a website actually I wasn't that familiar with, is called Vox, but it referenced a paper that was put up onto the CDC's website that is published to be in a journal in August. But the information in this paper is exactly why the county is not allowing us to open. And I know that the whole city and county is up in arms that gyms haven't been given an open date, but casinos have. And once I read this article and this journal, it all kind of made sense. And so what this article was a paper about fitness studios in South Korea, where a series of fitness dance classes led to 112 cases of COVID-19, with all women, average age of 42. There's information about the size of the classes, the size of the room, and you'd think, as somebody who basically put their entire financial life on the line to open a group fitness studio, that just read that the CDC is explicitly saying we advise against extreme rigorous exercise in enclosed spaces with groups, that my reaction would be, oh shit. And it was, what are we going to do? We aren't going to be able to have classes until we get some kind of vaccine. And quickly I realized that everything we had up until now was questions, and now we have facts, and that we need to shift our mindset from what we can't do to what we can do. So this group of owners got that article, and I believe that they're not suffering, but naturally from something called confirmation bias, which is psychologically blocking them out from seeing that the ventilation, airflow, heavy breathing in small rooms, which logically sounds like it could be a bad combination, but now it's proven as a fact. And that they can only stay on, we can clean equipment. And I was told by a person that has worked with Sam Page that the concentration in all businesses, office space, retail, restaurants, gyms, everything, is all about airflow, air recycling, ventilation, duration. And we've read pretty much everything we possibly can. And when it comes down to it, it is about concentration of virus and the duration in which you're in a space sharing air with somebody or in proximity with somebody. There were classes in a room that was 650 square feet that had 7 and 8 people in it, which would lead to 130 square feet between one another that led to infections. So when you think about that, you say, okay, this isn't a good idea. What else can we do? So I immediately went to Wash U as our landlord, and I learned, and I requested, I shared with them the information and said, we need more of the parking garage. We need the top 2 floors where we can have covering so we can bring up our spin bikes, and we can basically take all of the intense classes, like boot camp, potentially likely boxing, spinning, circuit, all of these different classes, and do them in a covered open air space. And when the weather's nice, we can go up to the top and do them outside as well in a massively large garage. WashU has cooperated. WashU has said you can use the garage as long as the city gives you permits to do so. So we went to the mayor. The mayor connected us to the city manager. And as of yesterday, I walked both floors of the garage, and the city manager said it normally would take 2 to 3 months to get a conditional use permit for anything like this. And I said, we're in totally times that none of us ever imagined. So can you please find a way to cut through the red tape? And he left telling me, the only thing I'm concerned about is music and the neighbors. And if you agree to keep your speakers pointed away from the houses, I think we can solve this problem and give you the space to use with a permit as long as the county allows it. So fast forward to today, we were anxiously waiting for the county to tell us what date we could open. We were anxiously waiting for the county to tell us what their guidelines were. And unfortunately, they have not given that to us. I was interviewed today on Channel 2 and Channel 11. It's airing actually right now probably. But what I'm asking our membership and what I'm asking our community and what I'm asking any connection that I have that would have any influence or connection to the county executive office is that there's no reason that everything needs to be closed and stopped, and that we should be able to do outdoor workouts. Illinois, which had a much worse outbreak, they announced that gyms can open on May 29th, but through one-on-one private training and outdoor workouts. There really is no reason that the county can't say, we know that this is a safe way to do it, so we're going to let you do this while we figure out how to let you do everything else. We're in an incredibly fortunate situation with this because we do so many different classes that we can have our mat Pilates classes, we can have our bar classes, we can have our yoga classes. We might not have them as intense. We might not turn the heat up as much. That we need to learn more about. But we can do that inside and we can take everything else outside. And, one of the things that we were worried about in planning on how to open with small capacity and having to lay out our schedule so we don't have members in the hallways at the same time when one class lets out was that it removed the social component that I think makes TruFusion and any of these boutique studios a part of your life and makes it more than just a workout where you're connecting with people. And the way that all these studios are going to have to operate is they have a class, they let everybody out, they close the door, and then when the next class starts, they let the next group in. That removes a whole element of the experience. We won't be able to do anything inside the studio, but with the space that we have with covering, over time we will buy equipment, and whether it's outdoor furniture or whatnot, we will actually be able to have a space where you can social distance and you don't have to rush in, take your class, and leave. So what we're working on right now for our members is doing everything we can to replicate the experience that we've had in a safe way in another environment. It's going to take some resources. It's going to take some work. We believe that it is the right way to move forward, to give you all something that's an important part of your life, to allow us to survive. And right now, we could use some help trying to do this tomorrow or the next day. So spread any word you can. We're not asking to let them open us right away. We're just asking them to let us start doing the things that are safe and work on the rest later, and then let us open. We don't know what the guidelines will be for outdoor classes. We hope that it is an adequate spacing, whether it's 6, 8, 10 feet, and that as long as you can be 10 feet apart from one another, you can have as many people because our space is very large. But if not, and they say it's a minimum or maximum of 10 people, we've already got a plan where we can put groups of 10 people in different segments of the parking garage and allow you guys to have classes. It sounds, I don't know what you want to call it. I don't want to say cheap, but it sounds like it's not quite like the studio. But just know that it's our plan to purchase rubber pads that are bigger than a yoga mat, so that when we do mat classes, each person's mat is not going to be on the concrete, and we're going to put it on rubber pads so that not only is it softer, but it's not dirty. We are looking for ways that we can put some temporary boxing bags up so we can have boxing classes. But our commitment to you all is to give you a space that we can do as much as we used to in a safe way. And I thought it was really important for everybody here to understand the reasoning behind the county's actions, because if I didn't know what I learned, I would be scratching my head saying, what in the heck, how do they do this? But knowing what I know now, we have to continue down this path. That brings me to the next thing. We know that probably 75 or 80% of the studios that we were in contact with have basically said we're going to open no matter what. So everybody's up in arms. There is a good chance that there will be so many studios that open up and move to either quietly do it or even like out in Chesterfield do it openly. And basically we're asking for our members' loyalty, that we're going to do everything we can to do it right. But we know that people want to get back to workouts, and what we want is that everybody is safe. Our mission was to make St. Louis a happier and healthier place to live. The last thing we want is for us to do anything that contributes to making people unhealthy, whether it's our members or their families. But do know that there's going to be places that open and ignore the rules. We don't want to do that. I do expect that June 15th will be a date that they stick to. And we are moving forward with the goal of opening on that date. I don't think that the county will be able to withstand the outcry if they don't move to that date. So we ask you to talk to any representatives that you know, anybody that can push to get us outside quickly. I know that people are doing it. There's trainers and studios, small studios that are doing little pop-up boot camps in small places at parks. We could go to parks, but what we want to do is have it convenient, have it locked down, have it covered, and so on. Just to touch again on Zoom, we know that Zoom is an important part of giving people that connection in a digital, safe way. We were hoping to coincide this with opening the studio, but we're going to mention it now. We have created an online-only membership for the people that are just uncomfortable being in groups and wanting to give people an affordable way to take advantage of what we have to offer. We do plan to expand our Zoom schedule when we open, that it will coincide with our times that we have our peak classes, so that we can meet people's needs who need early in the morning, late morning, lunchtime, early evening, and the second round of evening classes. And so for $39 a month, our members or people will be able to do online classes only. Right now, the Zoom classes that we are doing, we are recording, and they are available by request for members. If you email the studio and ask for private links, we can send those. We are also working on a website that is a member-only site within our TruFusion website that will house our recordings to where they're on demand. So our last ask is, we need you guys. For those of you that can still afford to pay memberships while we're not open, even though we're getting closer, we are grateful for that. And for those that want to take advantage of just the digital classes or support us in a way that they can, the $39.99 membership is available through the app and on the website, or you can email the studio with questions. So I'm going to stop now and say you can type in questions in the comments of Facebook or questions. There's a question button on Instagram that I can see them. And thank you, Vianney. I'll answer any questions y'all have. It's really awkward talking to a camera like this when no one else can talk back. So if there's no questions, stay safe, stay healthy. Try out our Zoom classes. They're awesome. Our instructors are awesome. We can't wait to put them back to work, and we can't wait to see you all. So thanks for taking the time, and we love you all and can't wait to see you.